Hi, I'm in Los Angeles with cartoonist Keith Knight at Next Space Studios. Keith is the syndicated artist of The K Chronicles, Think, and The Nightlife. You guys don't know this, but actually we work together at the Cartoon Art Museum in San Francisco, and I am so glad that I get to see you today.
Thank you very much.
Can you start off just by telling me a little bit about how you first got involved with cartooning?
I had always cartooned. It's just something that, just as a little kid, I just loved to doodle all the time, on walls, on paper. I was encouraged by my teachers, I was encouraged by family members, and just it never stopped.
When did you have that aha moment where you knew that this wasn't just a hobby or something that you were kind of good at, where you were like, no, I'm going to do this for the rest of my life?
When I was a junior in high school, I actually had a great English teacher. We had to do a book report. We read Animal Farm. Instead of a book report, he allowed me to do a comic book report. So instead of farm animals, I had it take place at our high school. It was under 18 good, over 18 bad.
You made a Marxist socio statement on high school.
I didn't know I was doing that, but I could get away with this for a job. This would be great. So.
Let's talk about your latest collection, which is The Incredible Cuteness of Being. What is it about?
It really is the trials and tribulations of being a pregnant mom. It's about my worries.
All the stress of an expecting father.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not only that. It's, it always covers a lot of race issues. And short of the kind of learning curve that America has with having a black president, it really, it goes to explain, are we really in a post-racial society?
Cartooning, comic books, comic strips, it's still kind of the stereotype of the geeky, chubby white guy. When you were breaking in, what kind of mentorship existed? What kind of path existed before you, I guess?
I think the folks that inspired me the most were a lot of artists just doing it. Catching folks like Nina Paley, who's a big animator now, but she was doing her weekly strip, and I was totally inspired by her. It's just these independent comics that are just revealing all this truthful stuff, and I was like, wow, this is what I want to do.
Comics have the ability to be on both sides of the fence for both mainstream and subculture. I guess you've kind of seen that evolution, so I thought maybe you could talk about it from your perspective.
You can do anything with comics, and
it really is a versatile medium.
It's a versatile medium. In a way, doing a comic is like being able to make a film with having no budget whatsoever. You just have to have imagination.
Do you ever run out of ideas?
No.
The world's full of them.
I think, you get writer's block, but, for people who say, oh, I can't think of anything, it's just that you're not trying hard enough. I tell you, my best ideas are when I leave my house and go and just have a conversation with somebody.
The name of your first graphic novel is I Was a Teenage Michael Jackson Impersonator.
Yes.
And you currently have a Kickstarter campaign funding that, is that right?
Yeah, well, the campaign is over and it was successful.
So the I Was a Teenage Michael Jackson Impersonator, it's a pretty biographical story of you coming into your own. And
yeah, I mean, there's going to be plenty of lies in it, because...
How do you make sure that what you're beginning with and what you're ending with feel connected?
I know where I'm starting from and I know where I'm ending, and there were certain beats that I know I'm going to hit. Biggest thing that I've heard people say is just finishing it is huge.
You mentioned earlier about how cartoonists don't always get the credit that they deserve, and one of the reasons we're showcasing it is because we want to talk about comic art as art. So if you can talk to me a little bit about your drawing style, your technique, your compositions.
With a comic book cartoonist, you're spending a lot of time doing these gorgeous splash pages and different things like that. Yeah, I think newspaper cartoons and stuff like that, you have so little room to do stuff and pull things off. With the K Chronicles, I'm such a wordy person that it's look at all the words on this thing. It's just it's a nightmare. Here's one that isn't so wordy. It's good. It's much cleaner, and there's not a lot of mistakes with it. So I try to kind of have a balance between blacks and whites. Cartooning is the first language you learn. At least it was the first language that I learned. I remember.
Totally agree with that.
Who teaches you that you're supposed to read left to right and top to bottom, and why those symbols make a swear word and stuff like that? It's really interesting how you learn that stuff. And as a cartoonist, you want to master that language as well as you can. This is a good example of just some of the way I use text to kind of convey what I'm trying to say. Like, this is a takeoff on the beginning of Monday Night Football for years about Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan. So I just changed it to Mitt Paul. So are you ready for some Mitt Paul? I just have him singing, Obama is a Muslim. This is true. The way I bold certain words in here that make it stand out. I decided in this last thing to have everything that these guys stand for. So, you got guns, you got the 1%, it's raining money, there's bullets everywhere.
But they get it because of that comic language you're talking about. So you have your 3 panels, you have your 4, and then you have this large panel at the bottom that kind of roots the whole thing.
Yeah.
So your eyes follow and they end up coming down.
It just looks better.
It just
visually.
looks clean.
After doing this for 20 years, you figure out what works and what doesn't work.
I think that you are a really brave artist because you take on so many contemporary and controversial issues and you tackle race in your strip. And I wondered if you could actually talk about how you go about making such serious topics so funny.
This is not so much a post-racial period in American history. If anything, it really kind of highlights just how
much race is still a relevant conversation that we need to have.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I try to do with some of my best comics that exist. One of the most popular cartoons that I did was about Feel Me Up Wilbur. And Feel Me Up Wilbur is this blow-up doll. I saw 4 guys on a corner, and they were black. To me, like, it's just
4 guys.
But to someone else, it could be a gang, So I just thought about, like, what would change that vision, that belief, and I was like, just add a white person there, I did the strip about it and how, like, if everyone, carrying this white person around, and it was a blow-up doll, and the best panel was 4 black guys standing on a corner without Wilbur is a gang, but 4 black people standing on a corner with Wilbur is a basketball team with a coach.
It's contemporary and it's an issue, and we're not nearly as post-racial as everybody wants to pretend that we are.
Exactly.
It is amazing material, and it gets into like the greater cultural psyche, which makes cartooning kind of the best job in the world. This is evidence that cartoons are art.
Dig it, dig it, dig it.